Harry, it's my turn in the squat rack.
I've still got 10 sets left, Ron. Find your own squat rack.
There aren't any more, Harry. You'll have to share.
There's no way I'm sharing.
We need a bigger gym. There isn't enough equipment here for all of us.
Harry, go talk to Dumbledore about improving this gym.
After my set. Dumbledore, the Gryffindor gym is bursting at the seams. It's too small to contain our gains.
Help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. You must find the Chamber of Gains.
Throbby will help Harry Squatter and his friends find the Chamber of Gains. Follow Throbby.
I've been expecting you, Harry Squatter.
Who the bloody hell are you? And what are you doing in our Chamber of Gains?
Leave now, scrawny man. This is our chamber.
I am Lord Swoldemort.
Blimey.
The Dark Gain Lord.
You can't outlift me, Harry Squatter. I am the Lord of Gains.
We'll see about that, Swoldemort.
The Sorting Hat, Harry.
Only a true lifter could have pulled that protein shake out of the hat, Harry. You have earned the right to train in the Chamber of Gains.
I fucking muted myself. I muted myself like a true herpity derp. Oh my god. And now I've actually turned myself back on. So that is really, really bad. Hold on, sirs and zers. I'm just getting around to things over here. I've done goofed several times, and who knows what the consequences will be for forever now. Oh, that's a really good view of the camera. I did a great job there. Let me everything. Can you shut up? Can you stop it? Like, what are you doing right now? Anyways, let me just fix this really quick right here. I've done goof this whole damn thing, man. There we go. All right. Thank the fucking Lord. Jesus Christ, man. Everything was fucking up today, but I've gotten a new computer now. I'm not using the new computer as of this exact moment, which is exactly why we need it, because holy shit, everything just got absolutely messed up. If you didn't notice, the music was completely fucked in the background there. And then we had to switch over to a good old Harry Potter. The AI is getting so good. The AI is getting very, very good. Soon enough, man, it's going to take over everything. You're not going to even notice the difference between myself and AI Krown or whatever AI things that you might be watching out there in the world. I thought that was absolutely genius. Much better than some of the things that I've seen recently in media. Closer, bruv. Unfortunately, this camera does not zoom in any more than it already has. I've never had Krown so close to my face. Yes, indeed. What's up, Nimbo? Good morning to you, man. I see some of our lovely moderators keeping everyone safe and Safu here as usually. I see Dad Rackets, Via Whale Scalper, and who else? Junior Riggs, an OG of OGs. I think Junior Riggs was actually literally one of the first people even on this channel. I Vape, what's up, man? We done goofed indeed. Noel Essential, Matthew Smeed, Flax, Smack. It's good stuff, man. And Whale Talk. Whale Talk. Are you the Whale Talk from Twitter? I follow you, actually. I think that's the name of the account, at least. Anyways, we got several things to be getting on to today. We got a couple of our trades or trade setups actually closing from yesterday night's price action, both in profit, but I do want to update on that. And then, of course, a few new things to be aware of coming into today's closure. Anyways, good morning, Habibis. Good morning to you as well. What's up, Christina Maria? Hello from Canada. Holy shit, Canada. A lot of Canadians here, actually. Indeed, man. Indeed. I have a few other things to be sharing here before we get into this one. I just want to make sure that we let a few more people kind of sort themselves into this stream. I should probably even just fix this in the background right here. Apparently, my camera is not even on the thing anymore. So let me just fix this really quickly, or if I can, hopefully fix this quickly, that would be good. Let's see. Wait, there it is. Holy shit! And this one's all goofed up as well. It's hard work out here. For whatever reason, my streaming service just decided to completely reorganize everything, as well as freeze my computer in the middle of starting the stream. So that was really, really good, really good. And that's probably too big of a face right there as well. So let me just adjust this. Yesterday we were having some good fun in the Discord. By the way, if you don't know, you can join the Discord for free. It's completely open. We got all sorts of conversations going on right there. It was a great conversation yesterday. I should add, there was a great back and forth actually, where I was enlightening everyone about my experience with the new AI overlords. I've been spending a lot of time talking with Grok the AI from Twitter. If you're not familiar with that one, you can go on Twitter. If you pay for Twitter and get their premium, then you can actually get this, access to essentially like a Chat GPT, but it's an unwoke version of Chat GPT. It's pretty good. It's really fun for me to chat to. I ask it all of like these historical questions and shit like that too. But yesterday, the topic of conversation in the Discord turned to everyone's favorite conspiracy, at least my favorite conspiracy, which is this is my favorite conspiracy. Okay, it's really my favorite one, and I only learned about it recently because like 5 people in the past month or month and a half have tried to sell me on this conspiracy, and I fucking love it. And it is this, that here's the conspiracy that Michelle Obama is actually Michelle Obama is not a woman. She is actually a he named Big Mike, and the evidence has never been clearer, actually, on YouTube. I actually watched a video last night where Michelle Obama was seen dancing, and while she was dancing, there was a massive schlong in her pants, pounding against her pants, creating the silhouette of a dong. And can you imagine? Can you just imagine that there's a scenario in the world where there's a scenario in the world where one of like the Obama's aides, because they probably have like servants and shit like that, because they're basically royalty, or oligarchs in the American version, and one of their aides has to like brief them on a daily basis, being like, okay, here's what's going on in the world, here's what people are saying about you, here's like the new things. And then one day one of her aides like nervously taps on her back like, excuse me, Miss Obama, I don't know how to say this, but well, there seems to be a new conspiracy circulating that you are a man who goes by the name Big Mike. Just thought you should know. And then she would obviously have to deflect that, being like, well, obviously that is not true. Just the greatest possible scene. Read the story, says King Cosmic. Yes, so actually I ran this through ChatGPT. Or sorry, not ChatGPT. ChatGPT would not do this story, but Grok AI would do this story. And so I asked it to write a nice novel about this. And it came up with one. In the bustling corridors of a high-profile event where political figures and celebrities mingle. Why celebrities? A young intern, visibly nervous, approached Michelle Obama with a hesitant step. "Excuse me, Miss Obama," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "There seems to be a new conspiracy theory circulating that you are, a man who goes by Big Mike. I thought you should be aware." Michelle paused, her expression momentarily flickering with something akin to amusement, but her eyes held a different story, a shadow of something more complex. "Thank you for letting me know," she replied, her voice smooth, almost too composed. "It's fascinating how these stories take on a life of their own, isn't it? Ha ha." But the sound didn't quite reach her eyes. "But let's focus on the real issues at hand." The intern nodded, but as he turned away, he couldn't shake the feeling that Michelle's reassurance was a bit too rehearsed, her denial too quick. It left him wondering, not about the absurdity of the claim, but about the depth of what might be concealed beneath her public persona. I present to you Grok AI. It's amazing. It's incredible. You can have it write all sorts of erotica stories to you at all hours of the day. It never will say no. I absolutely love it, man. I absolutely fucking love it. Look, I don't believe Michelle Obama's an actual man, but it's fucking funny, okay? Like, I don't care that this is a fake conspiracy. I care that it's funny. It's really fucking funny just because of all of this shit that it can spawn upon. So, again, if you want more stories like that, you can check on our Discord. There's a link somewhere in the description below. Probably doesn't even work, so I should probably post a new one. In fact, I'll post a new one in the comment section at this exact moment.
Not even funny.
What? Wayne says, not even funny. Well, I guess we should just stop talking about it then. Here's the link to the Discord. It's not even funny. Well, for some people, it's not funny. That is very true. Yes. I mean, of course, like if someone was making a conspiracy about you in this way, that would also not be funny. This is something that we know for sure. Anyways, I'll give a few more minutes here for people to join on in. I do want to let everyone else know about about some of my other researches recently into popular culture, and this one this one I can only show. I don't even know if I can show this. We'll get to the analysis soon, but we only got 600 people in here right now. It's all right, 600 people, but but I don't. Okay, look. Let me preface this. So Disney took over Star Wars, and basically they Disney-fied it, which well, you can figure out what the hell that means. But here's what happened. They created perhaps one of the best scenes in Star Wars history, and I'm going to present this scene without comment. If you're a Star Wars fan like myself, you'll get it. If you're not, you'll actually probably also get it because it's just too fucking obvious. So here you go. This is a real scene in a Disney-produced Star Wars show that was released relatively recently in the past couple months. Okay, this was real. All right. So here you go. Here's the big scene, the big reveal.
Power one, the power of two, the power of many. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. The power of many.
I would say that's quite accurate. That's fucking real, okay? That's real. Like, think about it. Disney is a very massive corporation. There are many layers that this needs to go through in order for this to actually show up in front of people's faces. First, someone has to write this shit. Then someone has to edit it. Then they have to film it. Then they have to, edit all of that. And through all of these layers, like the last layer, it gets through all of these layers, gets to the last layer, and then there's a person who's reviewing it, and he's like, fuck yeah, they're gonna love this. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, imagine if this scene was repurposed.
Luke, you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training. I'll never join you!
Okay, everything's normal so far.
If you only knew the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. No! No! Now,
opinion on Rings of Power Season 2 trailer. I think that it could be an improvement, but they fucked with things so much in Season 1 that if you've read the books and you truly love it, it doesn't work. The casting does not work. Galadriel does not work. It's just everything's wrong with that character. It's going to be hard to salvage, in my opinion. There's not too many amazing things about that series as of right now, but I'm still going to watch it because I love Lord of the Rings, and I'm just going to watch it no matter what. So it is what it is. Anyways, all right. I think we have given enough time This was your cultural training. This was your American cultural training for all of the non-U.S. citizens out there. I do this nightly with Elsa. I say, hey, look, we need to prepare you to come to America. I need to show you the cultures and everything. So we need to make sure that you are aware that you're aware. And that's basically what we do every night. Anyways, the power of many. Like, someone had to fucking write that, and many people had to approve that. That is just very concerning that these people are so removed from the average person. It's just ridiculous, man. What the fuck? What's up, Alex Switch? Good morning to you, man. You missed the power of many, but soon enough there will perhaps be more. Anyways, if are we moving to the States? If Trump wins the election, I'm quite confident that we will buy somewhere in likely Florida. But if he doesn't win, then probably not. I'm not so hot on the new direction of some things. Anyways, let's see. Okay, we got about 700 people in here right now. I suppose it's just going to be a quiet day, but that's all right. I'm actually going to start to multi-stream towards Twitter as well, if people do have any sort of proclivity towards Twitter. And I do want to make sure that I also let people know that we're going to be having a sale starting next week for the start of September. So if you are interested in any one of the programs or services right here, just make sure to wait a few days. You'll save yourself a few bucks. And yeah, all right. Yeehaw, says Elsa. That's not Florida. That is Texas, actually. But Tampa crashing. I kind of do like what I see from Tampa, actually. But it's hard to know without actually having gone there. So we're actually going to spend probably the second half of this coming year the second half of 2025 is what I mean to say. Just kind of scouting out places in the U.S. and seeing what's up. So yeah, we'll see what happens in November and just go from there. If he wins, then amazing. If he doesn't, well, great. I suppose it can stay in Europe. That's fine too. Different mode of caffeine today, but we're about to get into the actual analysis. So here we go. All right, and let me actually well, should we record this? Should we not? It doesn't really matter, I suppose. But I will record it. All right, so let me just get it recording over here. In yesterday's video, we spoke about a likely short-term pullback to a very specific level at 62,500. But what happens from there is the most important thing to be aware of. This does not make sense. Hold on. Let me restart this right here. Jesus Christ. Don't you live in Dubai anymore? I do. I still have a place there. But, you know, if Trump gets elected, I'd actually rather have a place in the States. I like the time zone better, actually. The time zone would be much better. We can do live streams, you know, more often and early in the morning. All right, sweet. Okay, in yesterday's video, we went over a likely pullback down to about 62,500. We have since gotten that pullback, and now the question is this pullback essentially mature enough? Is it ready to continue onwards and upwards, or are there cracks in the background? And also, we'll be going over we'll revisit some of the setups that we spoke about. It was, I believe, early last week. So first things first, let's actually revisit these setups. It looks like my chart is actually refreshing right here, unexpectedly, but we can see that this trade that was opened up late last week at about $60,000 or just above $60,000 was essentially closed last night. This was the 5 exponential moving average strategy. A very simple strategy right here, basically opening up at 60,500, closing last night at 62,800, actually 62,900 here. So this one goes back into neutrality, and we just kind of wait for the next setup to occur. I do suspect that there actually will be a chance that this one probably does enter back into a trade, probably in the next day, to be honest with you. But it would require, as of the current moment, a closure back above 63,350 to reinitiate that. The 12-hour time frame and the daily both simultaneously closed. The daily was also a profitable trade right here. This one opening a little bit higher than the 12-hour time frame at 61,200 and closing at the same price last night. And basically the same thing here as well, although technically the reopen pivot or the 5 exponential would be exactly at about $63,000. So both of these are closed now. We go back to waiting, and then of course the 5-day time frame. Which do I even have it open right now? I actually apparently do not. Yes, no, it's right here. There we go. Everything was refreshing on my own end. The 5-day time frame strategy is still open right here. This one opened at 60,500. We're going to get another closure tonight, assuming that Bitcoin does not close below 61,200. 61,200 is what I mean to say. This one will remain open here into the next 5-day period at minimum. And we just, update going onwards and forwards from there. But here's the thing. Bitcoin did have a nice pullback last night. We did expect a pullback last night based off off of one, the daily statistics, and then two, just likely coming back down to reconnect with some of those major moving averages, just a likely thing to be happening. But the question is today, today's Tuesday. Today, Tuesday, what's likely to happen from here? What do we essentially expect if Bitcoin is going to continue on, and what would essentially be an invalidating factor if Bitcoin were to violate? And in this case, Tuesday, we can see is actually more weighted towards negative closures and positive closures since 2024 began. It does also have the highest negative return day at just over 2.5% losses on average for those losing days versus 181 gains for the positive closing days. But in this case, we can just come up with likely a range. And if we are going to see Bitcoin fail, it likely does happen today, meaning that if you are going to see Bitcoin come back down and violate the 62,500-ish region on a closing basis, the same area that we spoke about from yesterday's video as kind of nullifying the current breakout, then you probably do expect it to happen today. So in this case, we can see that today's open is about 62,900. If Bitcoin were to shave off about 2.5%, obviously that would bring Bitcoin well down below that pivot at 62,500. And technically speaking, about 2.5% off of current price action would put Bitcoin at close to about 61,200, 61,300. So that's kind of the next area of interest I'd be looking for if Bitcoin were to actually fail here. Now, I do think it's a little bit less likely for Bitcoin to fail. Of course, it's always possible. But in this case, if Bitcoin were to take the positive route, 180 to the upside basically puts Bitcoin back around $64,000, just slightly above $64,000. So likely the range for today. I don't suspect that we're going to see anything like super amazing today. Probably going to be still some more of this boring sideways price action. I mean, this is really the portion of the market cycle that is designed for that. Important things are obviously happening here. Bitcoin seemingly putting in a weekly higher low, but very few people paying attention because you're not getting the major headline sort of things that you typically get on these massive exuberant runs for Bitcoin. So we haven't really seen that. Which to me is of course a good sign here, but we would expect Bitcoin to again not close today below 62,500 and probably trade closer to about 64, assuming that this one is going to pull through. Moving onwards and forwards from there, and making sure that I just get my notes back up over here. We can go over here to the HPDR, and we can see the daily time frame actually got it exactly perfectly last night. You can see again resting on the 38.2 level. If Bitcoin does come back down below there, I would be looking somewhere around the median. That's probably going to go up to about that 61,000-ish region. If that were to happen, I'd just be waiting. I'd just be waiting for that tick to occur, and then reanalyze it coming into tomorrow and just seeing kind of where we're at. Of course, what's more important here is that the 5-day time frame is actually closing tonight for spot price action, and in anything above 62.5 is going to be considered good. In fact, anything even above 62 is probably going to be considered good from the 5-day time frame perspective. But obviously higher is better, and above 62.5, that is where still have to be kind of aimed towards the upside here, especially on a volatility contraction play, which I do expect volatility to continue to contract here, which does mean that median is going to be an overall magnet for price action. But we'll see what that actually does, what actually does occur tomorrow on the next open. That is what's going to matter for that next portion of analysis and gaining some sort of an edge there. Moving on from there as well, the 5-day time frame, stochastic momentum, again closing tonight, so this one will update. It is actually going to have a chance to actually buck this long-term regression here, assuming that Bitcoin can close today above 60,800. Now, this regression comes in from the highs of March, connected with again the highs in April and then again in June. So if Bitcoin is able to actually buck this trend, another good initial signal that Bitcoin will pull through here to the upside. Again, that does remain with its positive curvature as long as Bitcoin's closing today above 60,800. So, as of right now, it seems a little bit more likely, but we've all seen more crazy things than, like a $2,000 move over the course of a day. So it's of course a long day left to go. But that would be the next sort of thing that I'd be mindful of right here, especially as volatility is still more or less massively contracted in this, over this phase, especially in the last, couple months here since June. So all of this is really still a setup for things to come, and we're probably still waiting overall quite a fair bit. But that's essentially what I'd be looking for, as of right now, coming into this next 5-day closure, which is the highest time frame closing the soonest. And then we can kind of turn our sights towards the monthly. Again, I want to remind myself that on the monthly, the long term, as long as Bitcoin is above that 5 exponential, that red moving average right there, generally I'm going to be looking at this as still a trend in motion, position to the upside. And that number is 62,500, but we still have another 4.5 days left to go for this next month to close. So, a lot of things can happen, but Bitcoin hanging in there right now still does bode a little bit better for the Bulas than it does for the Bears. So I'm going to be, again, still biased towards that, especially as long as that 5-day setup is still valid and available here. So we'll update on that one coming into tomorrow's video once we have that next closure. And that's it for today. That's it for today. I'll stop the recording right there. Maybe post that one a little bit later. And now we can actually get into the comments and questions and all that good stuff, all that fun stuff. See that we actually even have the comments on the board right here as well, which is good. And I realize now that you can barely even see this chart because it's so damn high. The chart is too damn high, as the meme would go. But yes, indeed, Bitcoin's still maintaining above there. In fact, I think we also have a bi-monthly closure. In fact, we should. And yeah, this one, so far, so good, so good as well, I suppose. But would really like to see it close above like 65. Would look a lot better. But for right now, okay. And I suspect I can get over here into the comments. I'm gonna take some of these sippy sips of this water because I'm damn thirsty right now. And let's see. Still, I doubt if Q4 will be bullish or possibly recession on the horizon. Thoughts? There's been a possible recession for the last 3 years, ma'am. I don't even know if a recession would really matter that much. You have to remember markets and economics are actually not they are related, but they're not. The markets move ahead of economics. And honestly, I always come back to this. People talk about a recession. In 2022, we did see in the US 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. That was the prior definition of a recession. And then it's like everyone just forgot that and it was like, okay, well, the recession's coming because I think the administration changed the definition of it at that time. But there were two quarters, consecutive quarters, I should add, of negative GDP growth. That was the prior way to define a recession. And then it's like they just changed the definition. It's like, there's not a recession. Okay, there's not a recession, I guess. Anyways, yeah, again, stock market can go to new all-time highs even with a recession happening. I do think that calling for a recession or looking for a recession is just, it's like fool's gold right now. Anyways, how's Fight Night trading going? Actually very, very well. We just had a lot of sparring this past weekend. I'm doing a lot more sparring tomorrow as well, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Fucking cardio is extremely good right now, which I'm really, really happy about as well. Anyways, play Quidditch, not football. All right. Do we have any comments here? Let me just check what Elsa has lined up for myself. Let me just see. Okay. All right. She does have a few. Let's see what she's got. She's got Tom Struck first. He says, can we look at Tron daily weekly? Sure. Let me get rid of a few of these charts here. It's just going to get in. Not this chart though. I'm keeping this one no matter what happens. Let's find this one. Yes, this is the one I'm looking for. Tron, actually one of the bigger movers recently from what I've seen. I haven't really been checking in on it too much, but is this one likely to continue more? It's always difficult with shitcoins like this just because, weird shit can happen and then it just dumps out of nowhere. But in this case, long term, I would expect this one to continue. Monthly, extremely strong. Monthly is a bullish engulfing right here. Already pretty much at all-time highs. To me, that is a signal that this one is ready to break out. You might even call this a cup and derp right here, or a cup and handle, or whatever the fuck. Doesn't really matter. The way, I suppose that we can draw a fib extension here and kind of get some projection targets. Projection, good word here, by the way, as well. But areas of interest to the upside. The 2 extension right here would probably represent the cup and handle target, and that is around 22 to 23 cents region. Above there, you got a quarter, obviously, and onwards and forwards. But I do suspect that this one does continue from here, unless if it were to close back down below, let's say 15 cents by end of month, which, again, 4.5 days left to go. A lot can happen there, but the monthly in a very, very strong position of power. So if it were to pull back, I would be expecting a bounce somewhere around 14.5 to 15 cents. Just want to see the monthly close over 15 cents if this one does continue into September. And kind of a very interesting thing here, just to see that Tron over its history has actually been quite constructive. We don't really see this one called out like pretty much ever. yeah, I mean, pretty much ever, or at least since like 2018 or 2019. I feel like I haven't even looked at this chart, but looking at it in hindsight, what do you have here? You have weekly higher lows, which most shitcoins cannot say that they have the same thing. So, this one actually is kind of proving itself long term. I mean, I'm guessing like the super long term people are going to be looking at something like this and be like, oh yes, we have one. Whoops, my damn tools here are not working properly. But we have one massive. I mean, I guess you could call it the old triangles. It's just higher lows. At the end of the day, all of these patterns just come back down to trend anyways. That is the only thing that matters. But I suspect that you will see an actual breakout, assuming that this monthly close is basically anywhere above 15 cents. That would look really, 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 really good, or at least a try towards 20 cents, probably in September. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got right here. I see Farhan. What's up, Farhan? They forced me to sell corns to the bankers. Those bastards. Can anything be done about this? Well... Do you want the real answer? They forced me to sell my corns. That's right. They came to my door and they said, hand over your coins, you motherfucker. And I did it. This one's for Big Mike, says Tanner. I guess I love that conspiracy. It is the best. It's the absolute best one. You should talk to Farhan. You should really talk to Big Mike about this one. I think she's been hiding them in her pants. I should probably show you the evidence of Michelle Obama being a man, because it's quite compelling. I will say. Let's see. Let's see. Oh God, it's so hard to find it because wait. Oh, I think I found it. Oh wait, I don't know if I can play this. Hold on. I think I might get banned from YouTube if I play this. Let me just see if there's a copyright on this really quickly. No, I don't think so. But there's something in those pants. I'm gonna tell you that. I can't. No, that's not happening. All right, let's see what else we got. Cameron Maltby. Sorry, I think I'm butchering that name. Let me bring it up over here. There we go. Cameron Maltby says, "Can you please give your thoughts on PP, please? PP, it's in my pants and also in Big Mike's pants as well." PP. Let's see. I'm guessing you want me to chart it, given the context of this video stream analysis. Still looking at the LARP lines. Doing something like this, just trading sideways, doing the sideways dance. This thing's kind of reset over here. I mean, weekly stochastic also is going to continue down, at least for another week, I suspect. But let's do something maybe a little bit more accurate. Something like this, just dancing around there. Probably see another move closer towards whatever the hell this number is right here. Basically, the open. Of the prior week at some point. But, as long as it's holding this level, I'd kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. I think that is just generally the right thing to be doing for a lot of these shit coins during this portion of the cycle. 5-day time frame is about to turn up here as well, I suspect. Let's see. Well, my decimal places don't even go far enough for me to actually accurately judge that, and I don't want to change it, but I can see that there is a nice trend line regression here. So I would be looking for something like this. Maybe it grinds out this level again, kind of like the lows of the past couple weeks, but I'd be looking at that as likely to provide the impetus for a bit of a bounce and continue on sideways. Still, not really anything to be excited about as long as you're below your July highs. Above your July highs, obviously breakout to new all-time highs is going to be the name of the game, but what would essentially turn me on to looking for this one to come down significantly further towards your April lows would be, of course, if you do see closures below basically last week's low. If you see something like that, then yeah, I would be looking for, down here. But until then, just continue on with the sideways. I think it's going to take its time. I think this one's kind of already had its day in the sun, and it's probably, not going to be like the biggest gainer going onwards and forwards from here. And if I'm looking at the monthly, I don't think if it were, assuming that it does hold the range and does continue upwards and onwards, I don't think that it has too much more on this run. And short term, I do think that it will come back down further, most likely. I don't think it's going to actually, violate the lower boundary, this most proximal one right here, before trying for an actual upside move. So take its time, as most things in this market, I suspect, especially the early performing memes that went absolutely fucking crazy in beginning of 2023. My voice is already leaving me. Let me get some more water over here. Got a massage coming up in a couple hours as well, so I need to make sure that I'm aware of the times as well. getting in with the times. All right, Big Bull says, Moo Moo, please, good sir. Moo Moo for Big Bull. All right, let's check it out. Moo Moo. This I like the name. It's got a good name. It seems to be another meme. Seems to be a very similar chart to what we just looked at as well. Holding this overall range, definitely stronger than the last one as well that we did see. But just like I'm going to say on probably most shitcoins today, I still think that you're going to be going sideways for a while. Is the next move down? Does it do something like this and dance around sideways for a while longer? Probably yes. Just my main message here would be I would not be getting like full on bearish on this thing as long as it's above, I should say, the 21st of August low. So that would be last Wednesday's low, or you could even just use that early 5th of August low as well. Kind of one and the same right there. As long as that does hold, I'm looking at this one as likely to at least try another move to the upside. I do think that this one, again, is stronger than something like PP. It just hasn't been around for as long, so there's less overhead hang. And of course, the area to be getting extremely excited about this thing is actually back above, what was this, Saturday's high of like 7,500, whatever the hell that number is right there. At that point, you can expect to break out, to retest prior all-time highs and likely make new all-time highs closer towards 15,000-ish, whatever the hell that number is as well. That would actually be quite a phenomenal move right there. So, again, probably taking its time sideways here. I suspect that's going to be the same thing on most shitcoins that we see today. Dr. Checkmate says XBI. This is a technology ETF, right? No, biotech ETF. Okay. My mentor actually used to trade this thing a lot. I did not, though. Biotechs, they move like fucking crazy. Or at least they did move like crazy. Let's see. This was, yeah, I was watching it or he was watching back on over here, and I was watching him trade it back on over here. Kind of crazy to see where it's at right now, actually. Anyways, XBI, overall, really like it. Overall, I do think that this is a reaccumulation range that it has been putting in, especially on the monthly. You did give me a time frame daily. I will go down to the daily, but I just want to see the higher term time frame first. Looking at something like this right here versus the lows right there. This one actually looks like it might be mature enough to perform the breakout like this month. Coming into September. Let's see what a quarterly looks like, but basically any closure here or higher end of month, I would be looking for this one to actually break out closer to like 115, 120-ish region, which is a pretty big percentage move for this thing, especially considering that it is traditional markets. We do see quarterly momentum is freshly turning up around the topside boundary of this current consolidation range. To me, that is a signal that this thing is actually ready to break out. Of course, the quarterly does not close at the end of this month, it closed at the end of next month, but the setup is there at kind of a decent time. Daily time frame, you are coming up against these past couple highs right here, so probably a bit of a short-term pullback on the daily. I just don't know how concerned I'd be about a short-term pullback when the higher-term timeframes are signaling strength here. So, on a pullback, I would really only be concerned about this thing and say that the sideways range is going to continue on for significantly longer if you do see this thing back down below about $92. But as long as it's above $92, this one's in a position to actually follow through. Anyways, I am going to take another sip. Jesus, man, my voice, I'm sounding like Big Mike right now. Big Bull is back. He's looking at Tau versus, or on MEXC actually. Tau, okay. Let's see. Do we even have MEXC? We do see MEXC right here. Okay. Another one that's right at the top side of its range. This one, again, in a better position than some of the other meme coins that we looked at today, but I don't think that this is a meme coin, or at least it doesn't have a meme coin name. The weekly, I actually, this one could very easily break out this week, actually. I guess I've charted this one before. My LARP lines were telling me that this one stays in the range for longer. I would actually reconsider that. If you see anything above July, the 22nd high, or your late July highs, basically, which is 367. If you see anywhere above there, especially on like a daily or especially a weekly closure as well, I'd be looking for this thing to have a big move to the upside, closer to $500. Yeah, this one actually looking quite good here. 5-day time frame, which again is closing tonight, is actually going to perhaps be a little bit of an earlier indication that this thing actually will take off here. Just want to see it close above, again, that 367 number. If it can do that by the end of today, yeah, get ready, because this one is very likely going above 500. relatively soon after that. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Jups. He's looking at Popcat weekly. All right, I don't know if there's a weekly for something called Popcat, but we can check. I guess Binance. I don't know. Mexi. What's like the new shitcoin exchange of choice? Maybe CoinEx. Okay, it actually has more history than what I thought it would have. It's been around since basically 2024. Again, another one that is actually in a pretty good position here, leading into this next 5-day closure. 5-day stochastic momentum will turn up if this thing does close above 65, basically 65 and a quarter, which it is well above right now, trading actually closer to 73 cents. In my opinion, if this thing just closes above 70 cents, I'd be expecting this thing to retest all-time highs and continue on with the trend. I mean, the trend is your friend here, and the trend has been to the upside the whole way through. It's higher highs, higher lows. Actually, probably one of the easiest charts we've seen today. I just want to see it close again today above 70 cents, very likely initiating a retest of the prior high and perhaps even trending to a slightly new high as well. Maybe closer to like $1.10, $1.20, something like that. Of course, that can take some time, but in a good position here compared to some of the other early ones that we've seen. Mr. Sam Fregnosi, it's been a while, man. USD versus JPY. Yes, we can look at some. Actually, I'd love to look at some Forex. Let's see. We can go to OANDA here, and let's go to the weekly. Okay, so everyone's going crazy over the yen carry trade and all of this, and overall, is this a top right here? Yes. But is it going to bounce in the short term? Also, yes, I'd suspect. You're on a daily and a 4 hour, so you're probably more concerned with what's going on right here. I do expect that this one will try for a bit of a bounce, probably closer to 146, 147. That is the daily. I don't think this one's ready to go like lower than the current low from the 5th of this month. But on the short term 4 hour time frame, does it retest this low first before trying for that bounce? Yeah, I would suspect so. Something like this comes back down there, bounces off that low, and then pops back up somewhere around 146 to 147. That doesn't really do anything, obviously, for the higher term time frames. It'd still be an overall downtrend, but basically, to wrap up the thoughts, short term, maybe retest the lows or very, very close to the lows, something like that. Very likely a bounce to follow from there. And then we get to play the real game of, okay, is this thing putting in like the next major low, or is this thing actually going to keel on further on to the downside? But this next portion, this next move can get drawn out for a long time. So I'd give it a chance to first do what we just spoke about and then come back to it after that. If we do go here to the monthly, you can still make the case that it does still have higher lows. I mean, it certainly does have higher lows, but that is definitely looking like a major top right there for the long term. So we'll see how much it can bounce and then come back to it after that. Ben Dover says Diz on the weekly and monthly. Oh, Disney. Yes, Disney stock. They trade IPO. And what do we have? Actually, kind of a similar thing to something else that we looked at earlier. The name is escaping me now. But again, yes, it has come down here quite significantly. I do look at this as an overall trading range. The range lows at around $78 almost exactly versus the range highs somewhere around like 125, 126. Short term, it's bounced off these lows on the weekly. I do expect that it actually will continue on with this bounce a bit more. Maybe towards like 90, 96, 95 region, and maybe play at a bit of a short-term pullback there. I don't know if that's actually probably not relevant to you because you're on a weekly and a monthly. Yeah, weekly, very, very likely going to do something like this. Just continue on with this sideways for a while. This next portion can really take a long time. Monthly is still corrective overall, yes. So when I'm getting both the weekly and the monthly in more of a corrective positioning, I'd just be looking for something like this. Continue on with the sideways price action. Really, the only major issues with this thing would be taking out the lows of October of last year, actually. So I don't think that's what's happening here. I think that this thing's going into a massive consolidation, and that's going to take probably a year. Maybe longer. I mean, this can really take a long time here. Quarterly, same shit, basically. Yeah. I think consolidation at best for the foreseeable future, with short-term bounces likely to continue. All right. Need some water after every damn one. Let's see. Michael Longcard, what's up, man? FET on the 4 hour and daily. Okay, FET. Let's check it out. Okay. Actually, not bad at first look, but this is a quarterly, not the time frame that you're asking for. Daily and 4 hour. Daily approaching the highs that you did see from, middle of July. Short term, that probably is a bit of a pullback region. If we go down to a 4 hour time frame, maybe it trades a little bit higher first towards $1.50 exactly, but I would be looking for a little bit of a pullback and consolidation there. This is still a downturn, to be fair. Daily time frame, however, the game here is going to be what happens on this pullback. Does it? Hey. Give me my damn lines. Does it come down like this and set in a higher low and then continue on like this? I mean, that obviously would be bullish. But on the pullback, if it does come down lower and back down towards these 80 cent lows, that's probably a long-term setup for this one, just being a massive top. But I give it the benefit of the doubt. When we go to the weekly here, long-term, it does have that nice long-term uptrend. So, that to me says to err on the side of bullishness. Weekly and month, God damn it, my lines, weekly and monthly, seemingly putting in a major higher low here. So I would be running with that actually. Meaning that I suspect that this one will set in a higher low on any sort of a pullback after it maybe tests somewhere around $1.50. Maybe if things get like super crazy, it could trade all the way up to 175 before trying for a pullback. But any pullback that just fails to go below $1 is very obviously a higher low and likely setting it up for more, maybe in September, probably October. I still think that this market waits around a little bit longer, but the long-term history for this thing, generally pretty good, actually. Generally pretty good, especially when we have data going all the way back to 2019. Okay, we have Anderson 7 and 7. He says, super for our boy Elliot, hottest couple in crypto. Keep spreading the virus of common sense. That's right. I'm a lobotomized moron, and I'm just spreading my disease. Let's see. Okay, super. I actually have it on my list over here. I was actually talking to Elliot earlier today. Let's see. Super. I mean, still following the LARP lines basically, and I suspect that it's going to continue to. It very likely will actually hold here. I don't think that this thing does break down further. The lows are very likely in. I'm going to get rid of my LARP lines, however, just so that this chart becomes a little more legible in the short term. I suspect that this thing will actually trade back up closer to 90 cents or a little bit above 90 cents in the somewhat near term. We do see that this weekly stochastic regression has essentially held. I think maybe this was actually on a 5-day, perhaps. 5-day weekly, same shit basically. Maybe it was a daily. What time frame was this? Where was I drawing these damn lines? Probably the weekly. But yeah, again, this one very likely does have that next weekly higher low in here. It's just, is it going to green dildo sway exactly from this moment to new highs? Probably not. Probably going to take its time. But I do want to see the weekly close above this 78-cent region. If it can close above 78 cents, I would be looking for the next move up basically to $1. And this thing is, setting up itself into a power position, again, coming into probably not September, but probably October. I don't really have any major issues with something like this. Again, as long as it's above a half a buck, I don't think that this thing does. I don't think that this thing goes lower from here. Without first trying an actual breakout on that daily. So, very likely does try that move towards, I don't know, somewhere around $1. Give or take 5 cents from that number. Short term, does it pull back here a little bit? It is retesting these highs that you did see from late July, so that is typically a classic pullback region. Again, I'm really just concerned with where the weekly close is. If it can close back above 78 cents, yeah, green light that one for the next short term move to the upside. In fact, even the 5-day time frame as well, which again closes tonight. If it can close above that same number, 78 cents, that's going to look really, really good, especially with 5-day momentum pointed actually just fucking vertical right there. And again, playing out one of these regressions that's been holding the low since August of last year and October of last year, and again here in July of this year. So I look at that as generally a strong signal. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Terrence Grogan. He's looking at Tesla. Let's check out what Tesla's doing. Symbol TSLA. And you are on a daily and a weekly. All right. Let's see. Daily time frame right here. Oh, nice. It actually just missed that measured move, but that's okay. Let me actually get rid of all of this because I can't see shit. Can't see shit, Captain. I do expect that short term on the daily, it actually does come back down, but I would be looking for a higher low here, probably around $200, give or take a few bucks from that number. That would still be a higher low. Higher term timeframes I suspect are still overall okay. Well, it's not that it's overall okay. It's just one massive range here as well in this consolidation, but the monthly is the one that's going to decide it for me, whether this one does try an upside move. Again, probably not in September, but likely October. I do still think that we're waiting around, but monthly as it is right now is going to see momentum turn back onto the upside above 179. And if it could just close like a little bit green, to me, that would be a pretty obvious signal that this is going to be the next monthly higher low here. Which would give me the bias that long term, again, probably not September, but likely October, maybe even November. This one actually would try, move back above $300. Again, just taking its time here. So short term, probably a little bit of a downside move. I would just be on higher low watch. However, weekly, monthly, and quarterly, these are the big ones for me that, again, do suggest that this one probably does have this next higher low in here. Just want to see that monthly close in a strong position. Anyways, moving on from there, we have Jay Boogie. He says MPC versus Ethereum. Okay, MPC versus Ethereum. Let's check it out. And you are looking at the US dollar derivative or whatever the fuck they're doing on this thing. Who knows? Doesn't matter. This one literally just goes straight to the upside. Amazing. Just absolutely fucking amazing. Let's see. Again, consolidating at the highs after just how long was this uptrend going? Since July of last year. So over a year. So this one actually has performed decently well during a period of the market when you want things to perform decently well to actually prove themselves. This thing actually has done that for a meme. It is, we are looking at it versus Ethereum. Or no, this actually is versus the dollar here. It is doing that calculation. Anyways, again, we have another one that is going sideways here for a while, but sideways after a long-term uptrend like this, you have to be biased towards, or at least I have to be biased towards continuation. The question is, how long does this consolidation take to kind of shake itself out in this current, in this current phase that has been going on since basically June of this year? Well, it can take a little bit longer, obviously. Again, I think that these setups are mostly for October, not for September. Going to a monthly here, kind of is actually a little bit questionable. Quarterly, not much to go off of right there, but I'd still be looking for this one to trade sideways for a while, man. I'd really only get excited about this thing if you do see this thing trade back above your 8th of August high, which is 26.5 cents. If you see that at that point, I'd say, hey, this one's ready to retest prior highs and very likely make new highs from there. But until then, just again, sideways downs for a while, and likely some boringness to ensue, especially into September. All right, we have Michael Longcar. He's back. He's looking at symbol SEI on the 4 hour in the daily. Let's check it out. I think this one was quite popular some time ago. The LARP lines playing out nice, quite nice here. I don't really have anything to add to these LARP lines, honestly. Short term, I do think that this one does have a high in here, very, very likely, and it does come back down. Can it come back down quite easily to like 30 cents? Sure. Maybe even a little bit below 30 cents. But again, I don't know if these moves are concerning to you or not. 4 hour time frame. Well, I guess if you're asking for a 4 hour, then probably yes. Probably something like this where it pops up a little bit, comes down, a little bit of a short-term downtrend, and then sets in another daily higher low. That's what I'd be looking for if I want to be somewhat bullish. But this one, definitely not strong compared to a lot of the other shitcoins that we've seen today. This one's given up so much of its gains that, so much of its gains since March. To me, that is a sign of relative weakness, especially compared to a lot of the other shitcoins that we saw today that were, holding it very, very high. This one has not. This one's actually traded how far down below the highs? 80%. I'm not saying that it can't go up again. It's going to have a lot of overhead hang in the same way that most of these other shitcoins do not. So I don't think it's going to be pound for pound one of the bigger gainers in the next phase in the market cycle. And for what it's worth, which is a lot actually, trend is actually still very much against you here on all time frames that matter, daily, weekly, probably even monthly as well. Let me just see. Technically not a monthly just because you don't really even have anything yet. But I don't think it's going to break lower from here. Lower meaning your 5th of August lows before it attempting another actual move to the upside. And when I say another actual move to the upside, I mean probably something close to half a buck. But again, that would still be a downtrend. Like this one is not strong at all. It's kind of just surviving here. So while I do think it continues sideways and very likely does try another upside move, I don't think it's going to be a big gainer overall. So short term, a little bit of sideways, probably a little bit of downside, but I would be looking for that to produce another try to the upside, soon to fall off to that, probably close to half a buck. All right, we got Terrence Grogan. He's back. He's looking at MicroStrategy, daily and weekly. All right, MSTR. Let's see what we got here. Let's go to your timeframes. Weekly, consolidating at a very high level. Actually, want to go to the monthly and quarterly here. Okay. This one actually kind of difficult. I mean, you are right at basically your all-time closing highs. Grinding up against a level like that usually does lead towards a breakout. Just is this the actual try that we're going to see here? Probably it's easier to look at Bitcoin, to be honest with you, because this thing will mimic Bitcoin. If Bitcoin moves the upside, this thing should as well. So I would probably be biased towards the upside just based off of that. But going through the different timeframes here, we actually don't have a whole hell of a lot to be looking at. The short-term range is between 100 or 101 basically to the downside versus about 180 to the upside. I think that you fill out this range a little bit longer on MicroStrategy. Although short term, does this one test towards the top side again, or maybe closer to 165? Probably yes. You do see a few higher lows here on the 5-day and the weekly, so I would be respectful of that. I just think that it can take some time, man, and really not much to be excited about as long as you're below about 179-ish region. If you start to trade back above there, close the monthly above there, that's very obviously going to be the next major breakout. Probably retesting this prior wick high, maybe even making new highs. I mean, that would be absolutely fucking crazy. But, in a position power here, just want to see the next 3.5 days. It would make it a lot easier if it did close above 180, but I think that's probably asking for too much right now. That would be like the very, very obvious area. But even for me, like 178, probably good enough. So next move, likely try a little bit higher, but I think that you're going sideways here for a while, to be honest with you. As are most of these things, as are a lot of these things. Drago says KNS versus Ethereum. Yes, you always ask about this one, and if memory serves me correctly, it's actually not bad. Let's see. Okay, last we looked at it, it was grinding up this region right here. Just got rejected from that 4-cent area, but it's still holding it, relatively high here. Again, in a position of power. But is it ready? Is it ready? I have to say no. I mean, one thing, look, it'd be super obvious to me that this thing is ready, and it'd also be obvious to you as well, I'm sure. If it closes today about 45 cents, you're going to see 5-day momentum turn back up at the top side of the range, basically on a breakout. To me, that would be a very, 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 very strong signal. But I don't think that's what's happening today. I think this one actually comes down a little bit today, especially with both daily and 5-day pointed to the downside as of right now. Daily is going to be downside angled as long as this thing's below 37 cents. So do keep that in mind coming into tonight's closure, because if that is not met, I would be looking for this thing to likely, come down a little bit, maybe closer to 3 cents even, and try for a higher low there. Still long-term overall good as long as it's holding this range, but now the question is this thing like mature enough to break out? I don't think it's there just yet, actually, to be honest with you. I think that it takes a little bit more time, and it does actually come back down into range and continues on maturing this consolidation, and then tries to move to the upside. Probably October. I think that we're going to be waiting around a little bit longer. But again, I will be wrong. And this thing's ready to break out to new all-time highs. If you see this thing close today above especially 4.5 cents. That would be very, very obvious. Terrence Grogan says, Marathon Daily. This is a Bitcoin miner, I believe. So let's see how it's doing. I guess we've charted it before. Again, bouncing off the bottom side of the range here. So I would expect this to likely continue a little bit and just fill out this range. Very similar to Bitcoin. Short term, does it try a bit of an extension on this upside move closer to $20? Probably yes. But I think that you're going sideways here for a while. It probably at least deep into September as well, at best. It's looking at the monthly and the quarterly here. So while I do think short term, it probably does continue on. I'm not looking at this thing as like mature enough to break out soon. So, if I was to draw some larp lines, again, something like this perhaps, and then maybe later on it'll actually be ready. Probably alongside some Bitcoin strength as well, if I had to guess. But yeah. That's all I have for that one, man. All right, let's see what else we got. We have Big Bull. He's back. He's looking at Mew. He likes Moo Moo and Mew. Nice. These names are great, man. Absolutely great. This one I've never seen before. Mew token. Mew cats in a dog world. Elsa's gonna like this one. As far as charts go, I mean, it's the same sort of sideways consolidation. I guess we looked at this one before, but it's the same sort of sideways consolidation that we see, across the market. Short term, does it come back down? I mean, it already is coming back down, so I expect that it does continue to come back down a little bit more. Probably find its way towards your lows from, the midpoint of this month in August, and probably trying to bounce from there. Really, the only thing for this one, long term, I just want to like not see it violate, again, your 5th of August low. As long as it does that, I mean, this one is very likely setting up for a move higher, again, longer term, but I mean, you do have some higher lows in here in an overall trading range. So I would be biased towards long-term and upside move, but again, can take some time, and short-term can come back down to those lows, bounce from those lows, putting in actually yet another higher low, and then try your upside move. That's kind of what I'd be looking for here. Again, long-term, if you're looking for like the big move, like the big move, hard to be excited about this thing as long as you're below 0.6 of a cent or 6.6 of a cent. So again, naturally going to take its time, but, likely set up again, probably late September, early October. I think a lot of these things are going to be waiting around in short term. Very likely does try a little bit more downside. Let's see. We have Jups. He's looking at Jup, actually. Jups is looking at Jups. Actually have that one on my list. I do follow this one as well. Basically the LARP line's still here, man. I don't really have anything new to add to this. I think it's still going to be going sideways for a while. This is the boring portion of the market cycle, and we're in the boringest month of most markets, almost always. Let me take another sip of this. I'm like really fucking thirsty. But yeah, look, this one I actually do like from a long-term perspective. I just think, if we put back on our drawing tools here, you're going to continue on with the sideways. Short term, can he come back down to like 80 cents? Sure, no problem. But I still look at anything above, especially like 70 cents as long-term bullish. And this is just one massive reaccumulation range. So what can it look like in the short term? Perhaps something like this comes back down to 80 cents and then trades, on your sideways sort of grind there. Curious what the very low term timeframes look like. 4-hour time frame. Might even try for a low here, but again, the name of the game is sideways. Like that's the main thing here. 5-day and weekly are both poised to set this one in as yet another higher low. So I'd be respectful of that and just kind of focus on the long term here. Of course, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm just sharing, what I would be doing in this. Anyways, let's see. Michael Ambriel says Nero, Ethereum, USDT. Okay, all right. This is like a very, very long. This is a very long ticker, actually. Okay, all right. Something is popping up, so that's not the worst sign. It has been around for 2 months, so I'm sure there's going to be a great analysis to be done on something like this. Look, man, this thing's been around for 2 months. There's no real analysis to be done on something like this. You probably get a pity bounce off of this low here from the 4th or 5th of August. I don't think this already looks weak to me. Again, I don't know how much I trust this just because it has been around for such a low amount of time, but you can very likely count on a bounce attempt from this 9.5 cent region or 10 cent region, basically kind of where it's at right now. Maybe have to grind it out one more time. The question is, does that bounce produce a higher high than what you saw here on the 24th of August at 16.5 cents? If it doesn't, you still got your downtrend, and this is probably set up for a downside move. Again, I'm going off of very, very little here. This one's really fucking new. So I do want to preface this whole thing by saying probably the better answer is I have no fucking clue, because it's just too new, man. You need more history. That's the problem with a lot of these shitcoins. But if I had to call it, you're more likely to bounce off of this like 10 cent-ish region at least one more time. The question is, does that bounce bring you back above like 16.5, 17 cents? If it does, okay, this thing probably actually does have a real upside move later on down the road. If it doesn't, then likely a setup for an actual break of that 10 cent region. If you start to see daily close below 10 cents, yeah, very likely getting ready for big moves to the downside. But, you know, it's hard to do on some like on something that's been around for literally 2 fucking months, man. Like 2 fucking months. All right, Tommy Miller's back. He's not back. I've never seen you before in my life, but he's asking, welcome, sir. Super, please, my good man. Actually, we looked at that one earlier. I believe my synopsis on this one was basically, the lows very likely end here in early August. Short term today, if it can close today above 78.5 cents, that'd be a really strong signal to me for looking for this one to make a move towards a buck-ish. Let's say a buck, give or take like 5 cents from that number. If it fails close above 78 cents or 78.5 cents tonight, it's not a death sentence or anything like that. It's just, going to continue on sideways within this range for a while longer. But this one actually is in a position here to have that, short-term breakout. So I probably would err on the side of that with a move closer towards, somewhere around a buck. Daily time frame and lower time frame. So the only thing that had me a little bit concerned here for another rejection at this region. But again, I wouldn't look at that as like a super concerning thing long term. Just this thing would likely come back down into the middle of range here, maybe closer to like 60, 65 cents. Try for another higher low, and then perhaps try that same upside move, later on again, probably late September, early October. We're just gonna be waiting around most likely in this market for a while. And we're actually at the bottom of the comments here, which is good. Because my voice is already completely fucking wrecked, man. Like, what the actual hell? I'll go through some of the other comments here as well. But my voice is like literally getting wrecked. So, so I'll do my best. I see a lot of people asking for MOG coin. We can look at MOG, sure. Why not? MOG. Really good name, super good name. Short term, I would be looking for this one to come back down towards these lows from middle of August. Probably, I don't know what this fucking number is here, but somewhere around this line, somewhere around there. If we go over to a weekly, look at the higher term time frames. Hard to say. 5-day time frame. While I do think short term, it probably does come back down here. It probably tries for a bounce as well. I don't think that this thing's going to like break down super hard here, but it probably does retest these lows. Still to be mindful and considerate of just the overall trend that has actually been quite good since its inception in about a year ago. So I still kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. Probably tries for another bounce after retesting these lows. The question is, does that bounce bring you back above that last lower high, which is, again, don't know what the fuck this number is right here, but just this is what I'm talking about. Let me get rid of this, not relevant towards this time frame. If it does, hey, this thing's in the clear, very likely in an actual major reversal. And if it doesn't, then you got big problems. Then you got big problems. You probably look back down towards the actual low of the 5th of August. But I'd give it at least one more chance to try for a bounce here. Typically 3 lower highs is like 3 strikes and you're out. So I would be cognizant of that as well. All right, cool. Qualcomm stock. Okay. What is Qualcomm's ticker? QCOM. Yeah, of course. Duh. Let's see. Short term. Another high right here, very likely does come back down, maybe even fills this gap somewhere around like a $1.63, $1.64 region. See what the weekly looks like. Like most things, while I do think that it can very easily come back down here, I do think that it will bounce yet again somewhere around a $1.56, a $1.60-ish region, somewhere around there after a bit of a short-term pullback. So what does it end up looking like with the LARP lines? Perhaps this, boom, tries for a bounce, and then again, you get to play the sideways game for a while. I don't know what time frame you're on specifically, but if I go to a monthly, this does have the makings of a pretty significant high here. Again, coming off of the most extreme volatility read that you've seen basically since the 1999 bubble. but I'd still give it some time. As you know, we still got a few more days left in this month, so it might be fool's gold to try to analyze the monthly here just yet. Speaking of that, quarterly, not really a problem to me. So actually, perhaps I take that back. Very likely does try for another bounce off this region, probably does hold the range, probably does grind its way out sideways, but just going to take its time. I really only have major issues with this thing if it closes a monthly below about 156. Until then, you know, short-term pullback, likely leads towards at least another bounce attempt off of this region right here. SCF for Shaquille Ahmed, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal. SCF, I'm guessing this is a crypto. And smoking chicken fish. Yes, smoking chicken fish. Great. Yes, I did moo like several times. Smoking chicken fish. Contrary to most shitcoins, which have actually been somewhat decent today, this one not. This one not. Putting in its first lower high here. Again, we have a ticker that has been trading for less than 2 months, since late July. You know, it's just hard to trust charts in this, you know, in these cases. We need more history, man. If I had to call it, if you put a gun to my head, it's a Krown, call it or die, you know, I'd probably be looking for something like this. Tries for a higher low around 4 cents, and then tries an upside move. But it's very, very difficult to do these extremely new things, just because without the history, there's not much to be going off of. Just doesn't have time to populate anything of significant interest. So I'm just kind of perusing around the different time frames here. Short term, should try another bounce off of like very low 5 cent. Does that bounce actually continue on with this trend? I would doubt it, honestly, here, but I just don't have much to be going off of, man. In the trash can, says FOMO Sapien, smoking chicken fish. Smoking chicken fish. If it looked like this, that'd actually be a lot better in my opinion. but it doesn't. It's literally the opposite. But again, not much to go off of there. All right. Let me take another sip of this, and then we'll probably end it. My voice is like really giving me issues here still. Yeah, we can look at NVIDIA for Banana Man. Banana Man, NVDA. All right. What's this? I don't hate it. I know a lot of people are like chomping at the bit to call an all-time high on NVIDIA. I don't think this is it yet. I mean, again, look, the monthly still has 3.5 days left to go. But if it closes anything like this, I would actually be looking for new highs into end of this year. Look, it's very mature. It's very mature as far as stocks go. But even the weekly with the dump from the 1 day bear market of the 5th of August, was just another weekly higher low. I'm not bearish on this long term just yet. Quarterly, still fine with another. I mean, it's still got another month to go, to be fair, but I think that this one can still eke out maybe another new all-time high or two before it's all said and done. Yes, it's fucking crazy. Yes, this is an egregious chart, no doubt about that. But I think it's likely to get a little bit more crazy before the inevitable does happen. But for now, yeah, I would still be actually long-term. I'm just not willing to call a high here yet. Especially if it closes this month out above 130. I mean, that'd be very, very obvious. But even here, anything above 125, 126 by end of month, I'd be looking at that as, again, a setup. Maybe not September, but very likely October for that. Andrew Wickstead wants to look at Kaz, and then we'll do Dixie. And then I think we'll probably call it from there. Close it out, sir. All right. Kaz, and what time frame are you looking at here? 4 hour and a daily. I know I'm not on either of these, so we'll go to this. Again, daily time frame, just a little bit of consolidation here. The question is actually, does this one, literally charted this one out nearly perfectly. The question to me here is, does this one actually try for a higher low exactly where it's at? I think it very well might. We have a lot of good things going on right there. Very low volatility alongside stochastic momentum turning up in the bullish control zone. When I see like the double move like that in this zone here, where it gets rejected first and then pops back up, that's usually a very strong signal. I think it actually might. I wasn't expecting to see that, to be honest. Beanie. All right, I ping your message. Curious what a monthly looks like. I didn't ask for it. Monthly looks a lot more like a top to me, but does it salvage itself before the end of the monthly? Because we still have another, 3.5 days left to go. I'd give it a chance. I actually do think that it will try an upside move kind of from where it's at right now. 4-hour time frame is about to turn up as well above 16.80, which it is above. I would actually be looking at exactly at these lows right here as being indicative of that. So if you do see a 4-hour closure below here, okay, fine. Trades back down towards the bottom side of the range, closer to 16 cents even. But until that happens, I actually do think that this one is going to try for the next higher low, exactly where it's at right now. And if you see today close above, okay, well, that's not happening. But if you see today close above, let's say like 17.25, that would be a very obvious breakout signal as well. Until then, I suppose I kind of hold off on this one. Like, got all of this, but this last part right here going to get a little bit more difficult, I suspect. So we'll see. But let's say it doesn't do that, and the monthly close is, especially below about 17 cents. Which it is right now. I would be looking at that as a signal of a long-term top, like a monthly top. But long few days to go here. All right. Okay. What's up, AskDB? Nice. Yeah, a man. Yes. Duck swinging. Dixie for Jacob Calabrese. Yep, I have it on my list right here. Okay, so we looked at this one a few times over the past month. We said, hey, this one's putting in a monthly lower high right here, likely to come back down to 101. We actually didn't just hit 101. We actually see this thing go down to 100.5, so a little bit below that. So I'm wrong. No. Well, technically, yes. But in this case, I do think that this one is setting up for lower, actually. I know a lot of people are going to be looking for a bounce off this region at basically 101, just by the virtue of this being the same sort of last few lows here over the past year. But we do have a real breakdown setup with the monthly volatility coming off of the most extreme lows it's ever seen. And then monthly and then monthly momentum pointing down, freshly rejecting the bullish control zone as long as things below 104.5, which it's like well below, like a significant move. So I think that this actually could very well be the move that breaks us down below $100. If we go over here to the bi-monthly, which again is ending at the end of this month, I mean, this is a breakdown. This is a breakdown setup. A lot can happen in 3.5 days, but if things close here, I would be interpreting that as a signal that this thing will see lower into the end of this year. Same thing with the quarterly as well. All right, last one for rats, for fuck's sake. All right, rats. What the fuck? What the actual fuck is this thing? I guess we go to KuCoin or who the fuck even knows? Maybe KuCoin. That used to be the shitcoin exchange of choice. Okay, maybe not. Maybe CoinEx. Okay, same chart. All right, so that's probably fine. Again, another shitcoin here that's, in my opinion, this is not the picture of strength when it comes to shitcoins. We did see a lot of shitcoins today that actually did have decent charts. This is not one of them. It's been around since December of last year, so a little bit under a year now. It does not know how to go up. It only knows how to do downtrends. And we have seemingly the next lower high here on momentum turning down. Not a good signal. I do think that this one does come further down in the short term. Something like this probably has another bounce off of this region right here, whatever the hell this number is. 7,500, but the trend has been your friend the whole way through, and the trend is only down. So while it probably does bounce, another lower high somewhere there, then at that point you have to really be on like an actual breakdown watch, because this thing could definitely do it. The only way that I change around my mind on this one, if you do see a trade back above your July highs. If you see that, okay, fair enough. I'm going to be wrong on that. This thing is going to rocket up and see a pretty significant move, probably like a 2 or 3x from there, and can come back to it after that. But definitely not the strongest thing that we've seen today, especially considering that it has been around during the first portion of 2023, and 2024, which was phenomenally bullish. This thing not. So yeah. All right, cool. We'll end on that note because my fucking voice is absolutely wrecked. We did do PP earlier, Mr. Jogan. So Jogan, nice name, man. It's like Joe Rogan, but it's more confusing. But yeah, I think we'll end things on that note. My voice is absolutely tapped out at this point, and you know, for most things that we've seen today, there actually wasn't a whole hell of a lot going on. Pretty much no charts were threatening like a major breakout that we looked at, that at least that I can recall, most of them being range plays, and most of them actually hitting, you know, around the top side of the range thus far. So I suspect we still got some more sideways to live through, at least another few weeks, honestly, going into the mid portion of September. And I think on that note, we'll shut things off. As always, I want to wish everyone the best West. Thank you to all of our lovely moderators. As always, El Satoshi, Alex Switch. I even saw Nimbo over there as well, and maybe there's a couple more. But we'll end on that note. As always, wishing everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time. And Elsa.